Max cease. Max cease. Hold on, I just need to double check something, chat. Hang on a second. Okay. All right, good. This was the correct video that I wanted to bring up next. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Chat. This is Max's newest video. As in, literally, he uploaded this 3 days ago. And I'm actually kind of interested to see what this entails, okay? I'm actually very, very interested to see what this entails. Do you want to know why, chat? You want to know why? Because it's the history of hot wings. It's the history of hot wings. And let's go. Oh, it's a combuskin. Yeah, you're right, Perso. That's adorable. Hot wings, chicken wings, combuskin. I get it. I get it. Well done. Well done, Max. Well done. Okay. I appreciate that.
I've decided that the coolest name for any food ever has to be deviled bones.
Deviled
which are
bones?
the 19th century equivalent of buffalo wings.
Oh, wow.
So thank you to Bright Sellers for sponsoring this video as we look at the history of hot wings as I devil these bones. This time on Tasting History.
All right.
If you Google
He really does,
when were
Kingfisher.
hot wings invented, the answer you'll probably get is
1964 Buffalo,
in
New York, yeah.
York. And that's why you can't always trust Google, because that just ain't true. Our great-great-great-great-grandparents were enjoying hot wings way back in the 19th century. It's just that they were a little different, and they weren't always wings, but really any bone with some extra meat on it. It was a great way to use up leftovers. And it was typically
Everyone loves a meaty
food
bone.
for the poor, which is why the recipe that we're making today comes from Alexis Sawyer's 1854 A Shilling Cookery for the People. Deviled bones. Take the bones of any remaining joint or poultry which has still some meat on it, which cut across slightly, and then make a mixture of mustard, salt, cayenne and pepper, and 1 teaspoon of mushroom ketchup and 2 of mustard. Rub the bones well with this and broil rather brownish. So definitely different from buffalo wings, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, no,
and
that
they are both
I like
spiced
this.
with cayenne pepper.
Okay,
and that's actually why these
okay.
are called deviled. Back in the episode that I did on deviled eggs, I talked about how in the 18th and 19th century,
No, I'm
any
also
dish
interested. What
would
is
be called
mushroom ketchup?
deviled
Hold
that was
on.
highly seasoned with condiments. They are not considered wholesome as a regular diet, but may be partaken of on occasion with advantage as well as pleasure.
Ayo.
There are old recipes for deviled ham, deviled lobster, crab, oysters, deviled scallops, deviled tomatoes, and even deviled chestnuts and deviled almonds, and of course, many different versions of deviled bones. And frankly, I think that is a term that we need to bring back, because how much cooler would it be if, when you went to a bar, you didn't order a basket of hot wings and a beer, but a plate of deviled bones and your finest claret. And you gotta do it in that voice too. Which is how I order when I go out to eat, which is probably why
we should bring that back,
in many
Chad.
of the restaurants in my neighborhood. Anyway, while I was trying to recreate this
I love
recipe,
Townsend. Yeah, no, it's
some
another
questions.
channel that's fucking
Like, first,
awesome.
Why does Alexis Sawyer mention mustard twice?
Yeah, twice.
My first thought was, oh, well, maybe it was a mistake. And that kind of thing did happen in a lot of old recipes. Never would happen in the Tasting History cookbook, of course. Though maybe don't go looking for mistakes. Also, if you need a signed copy of the Tasting History cookbook, I'll put a link down in the
I should get his cookbook. I already have Dylan's. I need his.
That was a mistake, though, on Alexis Sawyer's part, because he didn't really make mistakes. No, I think it's because he's talking about 2 different types of mustard. There was powdered mustard, which is back there, that big thing of Coleman's. That's the type of powdered mustard that they would have been using. And that's because it's mentioned along with salt and pepper and other powders in the recipe. Then there was made mustard, which is what they often called it, and that is mustard that has been made into a sauce. Also, Coleman's, which would have been available in England at the time, and I think it's this because it is named alongside
I didn't realize Babish put out a new one, Kingfisher. Really?
To mushroom ketchup.
Oh, fuck.
Now, I have made white ketchup here on the channel, so anyone who watched that episode on the history of ketchup knows that many ketchups throughout history were not made out of tomatoes. And the wonderful channel Townsend's has actually done not one, but
there it
2
is.
episodes.
There's a shout out to Townsend's.
But essentially, all these
Oh,
different
that's so
types
good. I
of
love
sauces that
Townsend's.
were called ketchup could be made. Different walnut ketchup and
Yep,
white
ketchup and
of
mushroom
course,
ketchup, yeah.
mushroom ketchup.
Ooh.
And this is from 1830, so this would have been available
Okay.
at the
What
time
is
that our
this?
deviled bones were being made.
Shipped to
Now, you'll
Williamsburg
notice
when? I would love to
much
do
more
that. You kidding me?
than tomato ketchup.
Good lord.
So you can't
Yo,
just
okay, what's
substitute
going on,
tomato
bud?
ketchup for this. In fact,
The one time
if
the
you don't
British
have
tried to
this,
make a
so
seasoning that
you can
wasn't
get this
salt or
online,
vinegar.
if you don't have this, then you can use Worcestershire sauce.
What's going on,
I think
Kay?
that
How
would
you doing,
probably
buddy?
Be a closer approximation. Now, the last thing about this recipe that if you
Everyone
didn't know
also
what deviled
please
bones were,
go-
you might
go
not get
follow
from just reading the
Space
recipe,
Pirate
is
Kay.
that the meat is already cooked.
Kay is
Deviled bones
fantastic.
were a way of
He's
using
streaming
up
a lot of Infinite
leftovers
Wealth right
or
now.
pieces of meat that nobody
Kay's a
really
good friend of
wanted on
mine.
the table, but it was always
show him some love, please.
pre-cooked. And then the next day you could devil it. And he says that it could be pretty much any joint or piece of meat.
I give a fuck what the recipe calls for. Put some tagine on that bitch, call it a day.
Has a recipe for deviled bones that specifically
Well said,
calls
Kay, well
for
said, well said.
drumsticks, second
Agreed,
joints,
agreed,
and wings
agreed.
of a cooked chicken. Second joints, by the way, are another word for chicken thighs because it was often considered indecorous for a lady, especially to speak of the thighs and breasts of a chicken. So instead they would say second joints and just white meat. So for my deviled
They were really that prude back in the day. You couldn't even say the word thigh or breast, even though it was talking about like animal parts and not like the human body. Bruh, how did we survive? Bruh, how did we survive?
bones, I am starting with about 2 pounds of chicken wings.
These were
which I'm
the
going to pat
exposed
dry
ankle
so they'll get a
scandal days.
crispier skin
Yeah,
when baked.
yeah, that's
So I'm
also
going to
true.
season with a
The
little salt and
Victorians were
pepper because
wild. They really
remember,
were.
These would have been leftovers,
really
so they
were.
would have been seasoned the day before. And then I'm setting the baking sheet into the oven at
Scandalous
425
chicken
degrees
titties.
Fahrenheit.
Oh my God,
That's
Bo.
220 Celsius for about 20 minutes. Just long enough to enjoy a glass of wine from today's sponsor, Hot Cellars.
Oh my
And I know what
God.
you're saying.
Scandalous
Wine?
chicken titties. Oh, I need to remember that. I desperately need to remember that.
While we have
They ate
our
mummies.
wine
They
prepared for our
did.
chicken wings, we
They
should
did,
get
Bird.
back to
You're
actually
right. They
making them.
did.
So you want to make sure that the wings get baked to 165 degrees temperature inside of the meat, and then take them out and let them cool completely.
Okay.
Again, these are supposed to be leftovers, so you can put them in the fridge for the day and take them out tomorrow. Either way, while they cool down, we need to prep the devil.
Yeah,
of
no,
these
Kingfisher, that
deviled
checks.
bones. And for that, I'm going to use
That
1
checks.
teaspoon of salt,
Okay.
a half teaspoon of
Dry
dry
mustard. There's the
quarter
mustard.
teaspoon of
There's the cayenne.
1 teaspoon of pepper,
Ooh.
1 teaspoon of mushroom ketchup,
yep.
and 2 teaspoons of mustard. Now, he actually doesn't give quantities for anything except for the mustard and the ketchup, though without other quantities like how much meat you're using. Those are pretty useless.
Oh, Kingfisher, trust
so
me.
You can play
Trust
with
me.
those
Listen,
however you want. If you
I was
want more
also
spice,
raised
add
in a
little
very,
more
very
cayenne in there.
Catholic household, but
Quarter
now
teaspoon
look
is
at me.
actually gonna
I'm a
do quite bit,
bisexual
so I
deviant.
wouldn't go more than half. Then whisk together the dry ingredients in a bowl, add in the mushroom ketchup and the mustard, and mix everything together until well combined. Then you're going to take out your cooked chicken, make a couple slices into the meat, then toss them in a bowl and add in the sauce, tossing them around until well coated. Then set these on a clean baking sheet, preferably with a rack to hold them up, and make sure that they are evenly laid out.
I
Then
can
set
see
them
where
on
this
the
is
upper
going. I
middle
was
rack
about
of
to
your
say I can
oven
see where this
with
is
the
going.
broiler on high and broil for 2 to 3 minutes, keeping a close eye on them. You don't want them to burn. Now, this process is quite a bit different
That's
from
very
most
different.
modern buffalo or hot wings.
I ain't no
And so
slut. You
I
gotta pay to
ask,
play.
how
Fair,
did we
Kay.
get
Fair.
From this to this.
History time. Let's go.
So the invention of the hot wing has been hotly contested, and I think it all comes down to what do you consider a hot wing? Because by most definitions, these deviled bones, they are hot wings.
They are,
but
by
they are
the
not
Bear's
anything
definition,
like
yes.
what you
Okay.
get if you went to a Buffalo Wild Wings and ordered hot wings. But what they do have in
Okay.
common is not only are they spicy,
You're good at
but
something, never
also
do it for free.
They were created
So-
as a
no,
way
very,
to
very good
use up
advice, yes.
leftovers or pieces of meat that nobody else really wanted. For most of history,
I'm not
the
gonna
chicken
lie, I
wing
kind of
has
want
been
to try
considered
these.
one of the
They're not
least
like traditional
choice
hot
pieces
wings,
from
but
the
my
bird.
God,
And
I'd
that's
try
partly
them.
because there
They
isn't
look
much
good.
meat on them. They're mostly just bones with
Yep.
a little bit of meat.
Yeah.
And so not perfect for eating, but perfect for making stock.
True.
And in a time when soup was a part of nearly every meal every day, a lot of chicken wings got used up. And should there be extra chicken wings hanging around after the making of stock,
exactly.
well, those would be
Chimpkin,
sold
a
off
lot
to
of chimpkin.
less fortunate households. It's why today's recipe comes from a book specifically written for those looking to save their pennies.
Or shillings. Oh,
Of course,
that
this
checks.
is a blanket statement,
Wow,
and there were
okay.
absolutely times that you would find chicken wings on the tables of even the most well-heeled, even in Buffalo, New York. Going all the way back to 1857, there is a menu from the Clarendon Hotel in Buffalo, and
1857, really?
first class, showing that among macaroni and cheese and
Wow.
lamb chops, guests could expect chicken wings fried. Now, there's no reason to think that these wings were deviled or spiced in any way, but at
Fried
least we
chicken
can
wings,
see that
lamb
going
chops,
all the
and
way
mac and
back to
cheese.
the
Fuck me, that sounds
mid-19th
good.
Buffalo, New York
Hello?
had a relationship with chicken wings. It was over a century later that we see an evolution.
Sounds good.
in
All
the
right, all
life
right, all
of
right,
the
all right.
chicken wing, and that started with John Young. Now, Young grew up in Stockton,
We do
Alabama.
deviled bones
and
with
there
turkey
he
wings
recalled
down here in
never
the South.
seeing
Most people
chicken
call them
breast or thigh
call
on
them
his
wang
plate because
dangs.
he came
Nice.
From a poor family.
That
So
also
it was
sounds
a
really
good
fucking
day
good
when
too.
they
Holy
could
shit.
even
Wow.
afford some chicken wings. And when they
God
did,
damn, I'm
they
getting hungry,
usually
chat.
fried them. So it's no wonder that when he finally moved to
God
Buffalo,
damn, I'm
New
getting
York,
hungry.
and opened a restaurant in 1961,
Uh-huh.
these fried chicken wings were on the menu. And they were so popular that a few years later he opened a second restaurant in 1966.
I'll stick in the hog
called
jowls and pig's
Wings and
feet.
Things. And the day we opened, people fell out of the sky. I was selling 10 wings whole for $1 then.
Back
and people
then,
were
wow.
lined up around the corner like they were going to a rummage sale. And what made these wings so
right,
popular
all right,
was
all right.
his mumbo sauce or mambo
Mumbo
sauce.
sauce?
They're
What?
different spellings.
Ooh.
Now, he did not create the original mumbo sauce.
Yeah, no, that photograph was
created
fantastic.
Back in 1950 when R.J.B. Collins invented the sauce for his barbecue restaurant on Chicago's South Side.
Okay,
And that likely
okay.
inspired a mambo sauce at a restaurant in D.C. in the early 60s, also called Wings and Things.
Wings and
You could
Things.
find by the early 60s mambo or mumbo sauce at,
Okay.
at markets all over, especially
So
in
what's
the
in it?
American
That's my
South.
question.
But when it comes to Buffalo, New York, it seems John Young was the first to sauce his wings. What's cool is that you can actually still get the
Hello?
sauce today. The restaurant has been
Ooh.
closed since 1967 when John left during or right after the race riots in Buffalo.
Oh, dear.
But they still make the sauce, and I'm going to taste it. It's delicious.
Hello?
It is a tomato-based sauce. This is exactly what I like on chicken because it's not super spicy. There is a hint of
okay.
spice at the end, but it's really more of a sweet sauce. It's closer to a barbecue than say, a modern buffalo sauce. Also,
yeah, I
I'll
was
put a
about
link
to
in the
say.
description to where you can actually get this
damn.
online. If you like kind of a sweet and tangy sauce, it's definitely worth trying. And
That's
it
the good
earned
stuff, Chet.
John
That's the
Young
good stuff.
the nickname
Okay.
the King of Wings. But if John Young's wings
I gotta try
weren't
and grab
all
some of that sauce for
spicy,
myself now. Good
then
lord.
When did the spiciness come to
Good
the
lord.
buffalo chicken wing?
That's my question.
By
When did the
most
spice
accounts,
factor kick in?
It was 1964 at Anchor Bar. Now,
Okay.
last month I covered the history of potato chips, and in it,
We've watched
I
that
talk
video.
about
It's very good.
The supposed invention of potato chips in a place in upstate New York, and the story had a lot of holes in it. This is not too dissimilar. See, the Anchor Bar was owned by Frank and Teresa Bellissimo, and
Ooh.
they are credited with creating the buffalo wing.
That
as
is
it
the
known
traditional
today.
origin story
The
of buffalo
problem
wings,
is
yes.
that there are three different stories. There's
Frank's
Frank's
story,
story,
okay,
there's
yep.
Teresa's story,
Yep.
and there's their son Dominic's story, and they're all kind of different.
Oh, here
In
we go,
Teresa's
chat.
story, it took place specifically on March 4th, 1964. Her son Dominic was tending bar, and all of his friends came in late one night. Well, he's like, hey, Mom, make us something to eat. And
Hey, yo.
she was preparing stock using chicken wings for the soup the next day. So she was like, well, I got these out, so how about I just deep fry them and then top them with some Frank's Red Hot
Hey,
mixed
yo,
with
Ma.
melted butter. And that's
That's how you know he's from New York. That's how you know he's from New York.
Her son
Hey,
Dominic
yo.
had an entirely different story because he said that it took place on a Friday, and March 4th
Right.
was a Wednesday in 1964. So there's
That's
your first
that's discrepancy number one,
But
yeah.
he says that it was because they catered to a largely Catholic clientele, and in 1964, Catholics did not eat meat on Fridays, especially it would have been Lent, especially during Lent.
Yep,
No meat on
especially during
Fridays.
Lent. Yep,
But
yep,
as
yep,
the
yep,
clock
yep.
neared midnight, they were gearing up to have some meat, and so his mom went back and made these wings.
Oh God, all right. Story time. When young chef was growing up Catholic, I would do the same thing during Lent. I would do the same exact fucking thing, and like I would do this all the time once I got my driver's license. As soon as the clock ticked over from midnight, from Friday into Saturday, my brain went, okay, it's no longer Friday. I can have meat now, and the drive-thru at the local Wendy's is open until 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's fucking go. That was my personal loophole, chat. I did that shit all the time during Fridays during Lent. Oh my God.
As kind of a reward for staying away from meat all that Friday. The third story comes from Teresa's husband, Frank, who says that the whole
when
thing
did you
happened
stop?
because
When did you
wrong
stop, Kingfisher?
delivery of chicken. He had ordered breasts and thighs for their usual menu, but when they got delivered, it was a box of chicken wings. Maybe they were chicken wings meant for John Young's restaurant, which was pretty much just down the street. Could it be sabotage? No, there's no reason to think that it could, but
culinary sabotage, you say?
And so he had his wife Teresa make those instead, and that's how she created the buffalo wing.
Interesting.
Again, 3 totally different versions of this story. Though the restaurant, Anchor Bar, today does go with Teresa's version, which seems only fitting, seeing as in all 3 versions,
Fridays during Lent sounds like a Catholic laundry day. Oh my
creating
God.
The wing. Though with all 3 stories,
Spaghetti
they
and
didn't
meatballs
start
on
telling
Valentine's
them
Day
until
this
the
year.
1970s,
There's also
or
Ash
even
Wednesday.
1980 in
Oh,
Frank's
yikes.
case.
Oh, yikes.
But
Oh,
they
no
all say
fetch.
that the wings were a huge hit right off the bat.
That is
in
unfortunate.
1964. Though in 1969, when there was a write-up on the restaurant,
1969,
they didn't mention
nice.
chicken wings whatsoever. And when someone did
cannot be
finally
stopped.
write about the wings, they said that they were baked in an oven and not fried. So again, a lot of holes. What is pretty clear is that even though Anchor Bar was not the first place to
if you're doing chicken wings, you gotta fry them. Come on now.
Sauce or anything like that, they are
if you're doing chicken wings, you gotta fry them.
Buffalo flavor and the method that they are typically served as today. And that is, instead of a whole wing, they are cut up into the wingette, the drumette, and then the tip is just tossed away, maybe used to make some more stock. And they're typically served with celery and blue cheese. That's how they were served at the original restaurant. And that's how you'll find them served today at pretty much any place.
These chimkins are full of holes. They really are, son.
Wild Wings, which wasn't actually
sacrilegious.
founded in Buffalo, but in Cleveland, Ohio. It was 1982, and the restaurant was originally called Buffalo Wild Wings and Weck, sometimes BW3. Weck is a sandwich, also popular in Buffalo, called a beef on weck.
A beef on weck.
Hummelweck, which is a take on a Kaiser roll topped with
salt and caraway. I've had that before, chat.
Wings are associated with the buffalo sauce that was first made at Anchor Bar. And in 1977, when the mayor of Buffalo, Stan Mikowski, proclaimed July 29th National Chicken Wing Day, there seems to be the only
Chef Weck it off, not on camera.
Even though only a decade before,
not on camera, no.
The king of wings, John Young, was selling chicken wings up the wazoo. So the fact that he didn't mention John Young makes it no big surprise that, to the best of my knowledge, he also didn't mention deviled bones.
And I found out the rules created because
so
those times.
that's why most people today think that they were invented
food the upper
in
class.
1964.
Oh.
Even Google thinks that.
Oh wow, that's interesting, Kingfisher. I did not know. I did not know that. Wow.
Even before that, in all
that's fucking wild.
We can get back to making our deviled bones.
Let's go.
So once your chicken is nice and browned, take it out and they are ready to eat. Now, this is exactly how they would be eaten according to Alexis Sawyer's recipe. Fanny Farmer did have some melted butter that she put on top to give them a nice sheen. So if you want a nice sheen, just a little melted butter will go.
Would you ever eat sea bugs?
And here we are, deviled bones.
Ooh, these look really good.
19th century. Here we go. So
I would try these, chat. This legitimately looks really fucking good.
You would do it before baking, but it would be chopped here and chopped here. You toss the little wingtip, and then you've got the drumette.
I would try this.
Wingette,
honestly, this looks really fucking good.
And I'm going to taste it. Here we go. Okay, there's a little Actually, there's a bit of heat there. Not bad. Good heat. So I'm not a huge spicy fan. This one actually, the spice isn't there at the beginning. It comes later on, and now it's there in the back of my throat. But that's the cayenne.
That's the cayenne. Yeah, no,
now,
cayenne doesn't hit you
that these were going to be
immediately. It hits you
overpowered
later
with mustard flavored, because there is a lot of mustard in it, but it's not. I mean, you can taste the mustard.
Yeah, no, I was about to say it's not the type of thing that'll hit you
is much
like
more complex than that.
It's not the type of thing that'll hit you on the tongue. It'll hit you as it goes to the back of your throat. So
I don't know, some other flavors. The thing is,
why did I phrase it like that? 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 God damn it. Why did I phrase it like that? Son of a bitch. I hate it. I hate it. We're moving on. Damn it, Bo. Thank you. Fuck. Perso, if you really want to know, I was referring to the combination of mustard and cayenne, the spices on the chicken wings here. I said it's not the type of spice that'll hit you in your mouth. It's the type of spice that'll hit you later, like in the back of your throat. We're moving on. 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 We're moving on.
The mushroom ketchup.
We're moving on.
The flavor that it's going to impart is just kind of this complex, salty umami flavor that you can't
Galaxy.
when it's mixed with other things and cooked. Wow, there is heat.
There's the heat.
With
yep.
A quarter teaspoon. I did. But
you can't handle it.
And it adds a layer of complexity to the flavor. So maybe they'll add this flavor to the Buffalo Wild Wings menu. Probably not. But it is a good flavor, and you can
I would
put
try
this
this.
on
Like,
anything.
holy Jesus, I want to try this.
And you should make it.
I'm
anyway,
bookmarking
if I'm
this.
ever on that wonderful show, Hot Ones, I'm going to bring these and see if
I am bookmarking
probably
this.
Like the one on the list. I don't think I could make it past like 2 or 3, but I'm going to bring it and add some history to that show.
I am bookmarking this.
So, deviled bones. Start ordering deviled bones, and when the
I would try
says,
this recipe.
What's that?
It's really good. Holy fuck! It looks really good. Goddamn.
You know what deviled bones are, because obviously I don't watch the show. All right, I'm gonna finish these, and I'll see you next time on Tasting History.
Oh, I'm getting real hungry, chat. Goddamn. This always happens. Whenever we start watching food videos, this always happens.